Smithfield Foods is one of the most powerful food companies on earth. Every day, it processes tens of thousands of pigs and supplies pork to millions of people. But behind the efficiency, the scale, and the familiar brands is a long history of lawsuits, environmental damage, worker safety failures, and public controversy. The bacon on your plate may come from a system that courts have ruled caused serious harm to communities, workers, and the environment. And once you understand how that system works, it becomes clear why Smithfield Foods has faced so many scandals. Smithfield Foods is the largest pork producer in the United States and a wholly owned subsidiary of WH Group, the Chinese-controlled meat conglomerate that acquired the company in 2013 for $4.7 billion. Smithfield operates massive, vertically integrated facilities that control everything from breeding and feed to slaughter and packaging. This scale allows the company to produce pork cheaply and efficiently, but it also concentrates risk and damage into a small number of rural communities. In eastern North Carolina, Smithfield-linked hog farms store millions of gallons of pig waste in open-air lagoons. These lagoons hold untreated feces, urine, blood, and chemicals. When they fill up, the waste is sprayed onto nearby fields, releasing powerful odors and airborne contaminants. Residents living near these farms have reported nausea, respiratory problems, and an inability to enjoy their own homes. Some describe the experience as living next to an open sewage system. For years, these communities said their complaints were ignored. But beginning in 2018, residents took Smithfield to court. In trial after trial, juries found that the company's waste practices created an ongoing nuisance. The verdicts were enormous. Across 5 cases, juries awarded more than $500 million in damages. Although state law later reduced the final payouts, the findings of liability remained intact. Jurors concluded that Smithfield had the financial ability to reduce the harm and chose not to. When Smithfield appealed, federal judges upheld the verdicts. In a striking opinion, the court stated that it was past time to acknowledge the full harms caused by unreformed hog farming practices. That statement marked a rare moment when the judiciary directly confronted the human cost of industrial agriculture. Environmental harm is only part of the story. Smithfield has also faced intense scrutiny over worker safety. During the COVID-19 pandemic, several Smithfield plants became major outbreak centers. At the Sioux Falls, South Dakota facility, more than 1,300 workers were infected, and multiple deaths were linked to workplace exposure. Investigations later revealed that production continued even as the virus spread rapidly through the plant. Federal safety regulators cited Smithfield for failing to adequately protect its workers. The financial penalty, however, amounted to just $13,500, the maximum allowed under the law. Critics argued that the fine was insignificant compared to the scale of the outbreak and the company's revenues. Even outside the pandemic, Smithfield facilities have been cited for serious safety violations, including machinery hazards and severe burn incidents. Meatpacking remains one of the most dangerous industries in America, with high rates of injury tied to fast line speeds, repetitive motion, and intense production pressure. Smithfield has also faced animal welfare accusations. Undercover investigations documented pregnant sows confined in small gestation crates, unable to turn around or move freely. Some animals were found injured or suffering from untreated conditions. Although Smithfield publicly committed to transitioning away from these practices, lawsuits and consumer complaints have alleged that the company overstated the extent of its reforms. Taken together, these controversies point to a deeper pattern. Smithfield's scandals are not isolated events. They stem from a system built to maximize output while minimizing cost. Waste disposal, worker safety, and animal welfare become secondary concerns when penalties are smaller than profits and enforcement is limited. The impacts of this system have fallen disproportionately on low-income and minority communities, raising serious environmental justice concerns. Federal agencies have since launched investigations into whether regulatory practices failed to protect these communities from harm. Smithfield Foods remains a dominant force in the global pork industry. But its history of lawsuits, fines, and public outcry reveals the hidden costs behind cheap meat and industrial efficiency. Courts, regulators, and communities have already answered one question: the harm was real. What remains uncertain is whether the system that created it will ever truly change.